We've heard what everybody else has to say. What do you want to say?
Well, first, I'm just happy to be back in Montreal. Obviously, when everything kind of happened, I was on my yearly summer vacation that I always take after the season. But no, I've heard a lot. Haven't read a whole lot, but I've heard a lot from friends and family, and I felt that it was just a good opportunity now to take this with somebody as credible as yourself that always writes well and does his research, to be able to talk to my fans and to people that I've connected with over the past, since really the day I was drafted in 2007. So I'm probably luckier than every player in the National Hockey League. The connection that I have with the fan base and the community here, it's unspeakable, really. And that's why I'm able to maintain the relationship with the city of Montreal and the province of Quebec, because they've treated me so well and my family so well since I've been here. And I've tried to do the same in a lot of different ways.
You've just returned to Montreal after a couple weeks in Europe. What are you feeling right now being here?
You know what? Probably one of the best things for me was being on vacation when everything happened. If you could believe it, I was able to kind of relax and enjoy myself and just get my mind off the game. That's why I do it, just to get away and get to a place where maybe less people know about what I do and who I am. But obviously after the announcement of the trade, there were still a few people that reminded me walking down the street or wherever I was. But the feeling being back in Montreal, it'll never change. It's always going to be like that for me. Montreal's going to be home because of the relationships that I've built here. I love Montreal. I've always loved the city, and when it really comes down to it, I never envisioned myself playing for any other team, other than the Montreal Canadiens. But I was talking to my dad, and many, many Christmases ago, I went down the stairs, Christmas tree in the living room, and there's a gift with my name on it. And I unwrapped the present, and it's a Montreal Canadiens jersey with my name on it. Not only was it a gift for me that I love, but I actually got to wear it and wear it with pride and wear it to work every day. But the reality is that today's Boxing Day and Christmas is over, so you just got to kind of move on, right? And that's kind of the approach that I'm taking to this, is that, it was a dream come true for me to play for the Montreal Canadiens. And the sad thing is that my promise to the city of bringing a Stanley Cup back and wanting to win one, I won't be able to fulfill that promise. This is a business, so we can't forget that. This is a business, and I've always looked at it that way, that I could very well be traded like anybody else on the team. I just tried to work as hard as I could on the ice to not make that happen.
When you picture yourself in a Montreal Canadiens jersey, what do you see? What do you feel?
Since the day I was drafted, I just saw an opportunity to be like other great leaders and champions in this organization, and before anything, to raise a Stanley Cup, and then to have my opportunity to see my jersey in the rafters with the other great Montreal Canadiens, because I just wanted to make my dad proud, and I know that he was a huge Habs fan, and my ultimate goal was to win a Stanley Cup here, and it's not going to happen.
Did the Canadiens make it clear to you, Mark Bergevin, Michel Therrien, Jeff Molson, that they appreciated the way you conducted yourself on the ice?
Well, first of all, I never had conversations with them about what people are saying in the media or what's going on. I think that would probably be a kind of a weird conversation, because we're always being told never to listen to the media or never to read anything. So my mentality is, I've never been the guy that always has to be the center of attention or has to be the front guy. I have no problem doing my job and somebody else getting the credit, or the attention being on somebody else. There were times where I probably wished there was more attention on my teammates, but I can't help what the media decides to do to write their stories. All I can do is go out there, play the game as hard as I can, and take care of what I can control.
You obviously haven't read the media or listened, but I'll recount for you that Mark Bergevin said that in making this trade, he feels he's made the Montreal Canadiens better, and that's what it's about. He also said that there's a lot of things that people don't know, and he won't go into the details on that. How do you react to those two statements?
Well, any mistake that I've ever made in Montreal, I've taken full responsibility for in that moment. So, we're not here to discuss that today. And today's not about that. I know I'm not perfect, but at the end of the day, you have to be willing to take the heat.
I want to get into the donation that you made at the beginning of the year. A lot of things were said about that, PK. One of them being, PK had political motivations in making this donation to the Montreal Childrens, that he wanted to assure himself that he'd be a Montreal Canadien for the remainder of his contract, that he could be the captain of the team if he made something like this happen. How do you deal with that kind of perception?
When I made the donation, I didn't think I'd be taking heat on anything that had to do with that. Was my story with Alex Shapiro, was it fabricated? When you have a relationship with a kid who you develop over time, you get to know he and his family, and then he passes away, and you see that, and now I have to explain that to a reporter who wants to tell me that I want to donate to help kids, because that was my experience for the fact that I want to put a letter on my jersey. To hear those things, it's I don't feel that I need to define my reasons for wanting to help people. People should want to help people. They shouldn't be looking to write a story about why somebody wants to help somebody. Why don't you just shut up and help?
If you had to pick one memory here in Montreal as a Montreal Canadien, something that you did on the ice, what would it be? What would be the one where you close your eyes and it brings a smile to your face immediately?
It probably would have been, there was two moments kind of with the same person. With Elise Bellevaux, when she gave me the Jean Bellevaux trophy. That was a pretty special moment for me. To my connection with Jean Bellevaux as a little kid and having that connection. The night when they played that video on the Jumbotron, I was in tears. I don't know if anybody out, but I was. Watching Elise in the stands and being a part of that, that's a monumental moment, I think, in Montreal Canadiens history, and I'm happy to know that I was there. That's what being a Montreal Canadien is all about, is just embracing the culture, the history, and I did that.